Hey, Bob, do you know how divers communicate with each other?
No, how?
They use speech bubbles. Hey guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we are reviewing Endeavor Deep Sea. This is a co-designed by Carl DeVisser and Jarrett Gray, and also a co-published game by Burnt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild. We're going to give you an overview of how it plays, and then we're going to tell you our thoughts and score it. So Bob, tell everybody how this game plays.
Oh, okay, sure. So on your turn, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to be given this little tray that has all these workers on it. And then depending on what level you're at in the top communication bubble, you're going to pick a worker accordingly and add it to your little lineup of people. Pass the tray to the next person down, and they're going to pick one out of there accordingly. All right, you're going to gain, there's any immediate effects that might be listed on there. You'll go ahead and gain those by marking them on your nice dual-layer player board here. And then you're just going to follow down this little sequence of icons. So first thing we did was recruit. Next, we're going to gain more of these little action discs according to where our slot is at. So 1 at the beginning. And then you're going to remove discs according to wherever you're at on the track, which is 1 at the beginning. And then the next one down, the puzzle piece, that's your ingenuity. That's going to be representing how far you can move whenever you take a move action and how deep you're allowed to go. After that, we're going to take turns taking actions. When you take an action, you're going to take at least one of your discs to activate one of your team members and place it on that spot. And then you'll be able to do the action that it says with the on the team member himself. And then you're going to, so if it's a dive, you're going to be taking, I didn't pull the dive tokens out. That's okay. There'll be dive tokens here, and then they'll be populated on the board, and those will be like bonus actions, DNA, things like that. You'll be able to do things like sonar, which Mike is doing, by placing a disc on your guy and a disc out on an active sonar spot where you are at, and that's going to tell you which depth you can take tiles from. Either do you take 2 tiles, up to 1 or 2 is where the slot I'm at. Place the one you want on there. Each of these tiles up in the top corner has a bonus on there. So as soon as you do your sonar action and place that tile out, you're going to get those immediate bonuses. Other than the sonar, then you have the dive one, which I was talking about earlier. The dive tokens populated on certain parts of the board that allow you to collect those dive tokens, which you'll use for DNA and then bonus actions that might be listed on them as well. There is a conservation action, which by taking that where these little sea turtles are at, you'll be placing a disc on your person and a disc out in the appropriate spot, spending the amount of DNA that it shows on there, and gaining all the resources that you cover up. And then if you or a future player were to cover up the next spot next to you, there's a lot of lines in between the different areas, and that will get you those bonus resources as well. Most of the time it's track movement. And then you're going to have the research action, I think it's called, a little book on there. And by doing that, you'll be putting your action token on there and spending the DNA and taking one of those journals. And then those journals are going to allow you to promote your workers. So you might have a disc on a worker, or you may not, but either way, you're going to flip them over. That disc will go away if there is. And now you have another spot where you can take an action, and you also increases the potency of their action. Right now I can have an option of 2, or some of them, the higher level ones, instead of doing 1 action, you can do 2 actions instead. And then the tier 5 ones will have end game victory points on there, which can be super helpful. And those are the basic actions. Now there are multiple scenarios with that comes in the game. I think there's like 10 different scenarios. So you take the mission card, pick which one you want to do. It's going to tell you what basic setup that you're going to have, and then by taking gaining impact, you take these little hexagon bits, place them out on the board, and then you're going to be gaining any resources you might be covering. Certain spots are going to be worth victory points at the end, 1 or 2, depending on where you are. And then each mission is also going to have 2 to 3 different types of end game goals as far as bonus ways to gain points. In the beginning, it's going to be activating sonar, who has the most sonar pieces out, and you get points for actively doing a sonar and having them on the board at it all. Whoever has the most journals, you'll get to get points for those. Whoever has the most will get a bonus. And then the conservation action, that's just the opening scenario for an example. Like I said, there's 10 different ones that you can choose from. Do you have anything else, Mike, that I might have missed?
Yeah, all of the scoring is done at the end of the game.
Correct.
You'll have points that you'll accumulate based on those journals. You'll have points that you'll get based on how far you get across these tracks on your board. And then, like Bob said, all of the scenarios have different ways where there's community scoring that you're competing for. First and second will get points for those. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this game our thoughts. So obviously Endeavor Deep Sea is based on the original game Endeavor Age of Sail. And this one does a lot of clever things. It still has that action efficiency where you're building an engine that gives you more efficient ways to perform actions. And I think that works really well in this game because as you go up these tracks, you're slowly increasing how efficient you are at things. You're gradually able to get better technicians as you go. You're able to get more of these action tokens every round as you go up the green track. You can remove, because otherwise they just stay on there between rounds. The yellow track allows you to pull more of them off and put them into this area so you can redeploy them each round. And then of course the blue track gives you more submarines and allows you to travel even farther or deeper as the game goes along. And I really like the thematic ties of this. The deeper you go into the ocean, the better the map pieces are that comes out. And I like the aesthetic change of these. Obviously you're getting the sky and the water, but as you go deeper, the water gets darker and the pieces just get tastier and tastier the deeper you go. But you got to have a good leveled up submarine to get all the way down here. And I just feel like the way these tracks synergize off of each other, you start off maybe trying to focus on one or two, but really as the game goes on, you need all of them.
Right. You can't ignore it.
No, you really can't ignore all of them, because as soon as you do, you'll feel limited by something. You're like, I really need this spot way at the bottom of the ocean, and I'm still on a level 4 submarine. So I think the turn efficiency is really good. I like the aesthetic of going deeper into the ocean. And really, which one of these experts you get at the beginning of each round can be an arduous decision, because they have very different things that they do, and the upgraded side of them is very different from each other. So I thought all of that really worked together, and the game synergizes things very well.
Yeah, I like how even like when you just take basic move actions and you move a sub from one zone to the other, depending on where you're going to get a resource just for going there. And so that can then trigger different things. Or like Mike was saying, depending on what person you take and you add them to your team, that can affect things downstream. Because if I've got my green bubble thing on here and I take this guy that gives me an immediate, that's the wrong one. This guy right here, that's got 2 of the green light bulbs on there, and then I bump that up. Now when I move down to that next part of the turn, I'm gaining more of those discs. So that order of operations is very important. And then like this guy here, he's got 2 puzzle pieces and no actual action on him. But once you level him up, now he has an action that you can place a disc on there and do something. And I find that decision fun. Which one am I going to take? That's perhaps supposed to put it in the right spot. I think, component-wise, this is fantastic. Like, this is made out of some sort of recycled paper or something. But there's a slot, for everybody, and underneath in the bottom, they're labeled like the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. There's actually a sleeve that slides over it, so when you put it in the box, all of that stuff stays there. Now, this is the deluxe version. The basic version does come with this tray still, but then the deluxe version comes with these player trays also instead of just a bag, and then there's a cover that goes over those and keeps all those together. That is really nice. The insert was done really well. Like, I haven't really found any complaints about that. I haven't tried to sleeve my cards yet, but I don't think you really need to, because the cards stay out. You don't hold anything in your hand, which is typically what I figure out if I'm going to sleeve something or not, because they go out there, you buy them, they come out, they sit in front of you. So there's not really a big need to sleeve them, but I mean, you can, and there is room in the box for them. It does appear. Like I said, I haven't done it myself yet, but it does look like there's room. The silk screen on these is part of the deluxe, but otherwise you get cubes and you still get cool looking subs. They're still cut differently. They just don't have the silk screen printing on there, which is totally fine. So either version you get of this, you're going to be happy with the components that you get, because they're dual layer player board still. The mission boards are all the big same kind of cardboard feel to them. The art, I think, was really done well. Like, the iconography is very strong. But yeah, it's just a bang up job.
That's synonymous with every Burnt Island game. I feel like their iconography is strong.
Yeah.
And like, there's no player aids for this game. You don't need them.
You don't need it.
It's very easy
Your turn
to
breakdown's
figure
right
out.
there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job of explaining how the game works with basically language independent. Besides the
Some of the flavor.
some of the flavor stuff. Really, I'm looking at
all
totally
icons.
language independent game.
Yeah. I mean,
which is amazing.
other than like, because some of these, they do have a paper in there that has a breakdown of what some of this means, because it might be a little confusing, right? So you come in here, this one here, there means there'll be 3 dive tokens on there. And when you take a dive token, you get to gain a DNA as well. And there's just a sheet that says that that's what that does, and it's listed by the name. So a little bit of language there, but you could figure it out, honestly, but just by looking at some of that iconography, in my opinion.
There's also 5 of those mission cards. They're double-sided, so there's 10 different versions of missions you can play. We played the first 2, and they all give you a different flavor of game. Some of them focus on specific actions during the game. Like Mission 2 we played last night, it focused on getting you to get your submarines and your pieces on different parts of the ocean. It was, getting pieces into the B and C, A,
And
B,
doing
C,
sonar.
D, and E sections of the ocean here. Getting out here, getting your sonar, getting pieces further deep into the ocean. And I think that's a really interesting way to add replayability, is by forcing you to do certain actions to score the community goals. We also only played the competitive. We did not play the cooperative
I was going to
version.
say, so when it comes to the cooperative version, there's a deck of cards that you'll shuffle certain ones in and pull some out and then make a deck of their own. And then each round you're going to flip a card over, and it's going to have either the first couple rounds is something helpful. After that, it starts to become a hindrance and things that are kind of getting in your way and causing issues. And then when you get done, you're going to calculate your total score together, and then there's a chart on there that basically rates you on how well you did for a co-op team. So you can play it one player solo, you can play it multiplayer versus, and you can play it multiplayer co-ops. There's a lot of different ways to play all these different scenarios. And something you had mentioned before, Mike, is this game, I think, really lends itself well to more expansions. Easy to print more tiles to give you more options like that. Easy to print more mission boards to differentiate different, end games, objectives, and stuff like that. And all of the little impact tracks are all different. Oh my gosh, that one gives you cards when you do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't haven't looked at all of them yet. But yeah, there's so many. They're all different patterns and layouts. There's a lot of different things going on with each of these mission boards. And it does come with the deluxe one does also come with a couple of the mini expansions. There's like an Orca expansion where you can move in there, and then they have little Orca minis, and you move those around the board, and that helps you, I think, to research for cheaper or do the conservation action for cheaper.
Exactly.
There's one with the robot that you were looking at, that you got a little robot thing that lets you go around and collect stuff off the board easier. And there was one other one I don't
Different ocean
recall.
tiles that can
Yeah,
come
different
out.
ocean tiles that can come out. So there's a lot in this box.
Modules that you can just add one of or all of if you really want to spice up your gameplay.
Yep.
So lots of replayability with those modules and the missions and the ability to go co-op. They really did a great job there.
Yeah.
So that's our rundown of the game and our thoughts. Bob, how do we score games?
It's a great question, Mike. So on the board game rundown, we're going to give a game a rating between 0 and 10. We do use 0.5s for a little bit of variance. We're going to take those scores, average them together, and that is going to be the score that the BGR gives it on BGG and Discord and things like that, where you might find what we rate games.
All right, Bob, tell everybody, what do you score this game and why?
Man, I'm between two numbers, and I think I'm going to give it a 9. Like,
Wow.
I really like the variance. If you only had like one or two mission things, and I felt it was going to be very samey every time, I probably would have given it maybe the 8.5. But like, I'm going to give it a 9 because there's so much variance in those different missions. There's so many different tiles.
Yeah.
The components are really nice. Colors, no issues with colors whatsoever. They chose a very like purple, yellow. There is a red, and then there's like a teal, like a Miami green. I call it Miami because I had Miami Dolphins, right? So, but those are very easy for me to tell apart. So I had zero issues with any of the colors, and so yeah, for me, it's It's going to be a 9.
I've noticed Burnt Island uses a lot of the same colors because they are colorblind friendly. Great job there.
Yeah, very much appreciated.
I really like this game as well. I'm falling on an 8.5. I think the mechanics are fantastic. And even though I'm doing a lot of the same things each game, it feels different because the missions are pushing me in a different direction.
Right.
It is making me kind of hyper focus on certain things, and I like that. And this game also rewards repeat plays. The more you play this, the more synergies you start to see.
Yeah.
The other thing we didn't really get into, there's 3 of each level of the specialist over here. When you get all the way to the level 5 specialists, there's multiple different ones in each stack. So these are all just repeats in the earlier levels.
All different.
There's a whole bunch of different level 5s, and I haven't even used any of those. So I'm just already seeing reasons to want to keep playing this game. I want to play mission 3 through 10. I want to see more of those level 5 specialists that are over there. I want to see more of these cool looking ocean tiles, because not only do they thematically get darker as you get deeper into this sea, they all have their own special actions on them, and they get stronger the deeper you go. This planning ahead feels really satisfying here. This is just an excellent engine builder, and it's one you should definitely check out. This is hitting retail. Probably by the time our review is out, this will have just released to retail. Bob, you backed this on Kickstarter, right?
I did,
You got
yes.
the deluxe.
Yep, I got it on Kickstarter. I got the deluxe. And like I said, we played it twice last night. I had played it a couple days or last week or so, and every playthrough I played it with 3 and 4 players. 90 minutes. That was like the longest one. Then the second time we played it with the same 3 people last night, I think that one was like maybe 70 to 80 minutes.
Yeah.
It was still shy of 90.
And when a game's under 90 minutes at 3 players, it encourages you to play it again. That's why we played it 2 times.
Yep.
Plus, it's just that good.
It was, yeah. And I liked that the different missions, like you're saying, make you focus on different ones. Because when I played Age of Sail, because I played that one quite a bit, I really enjoyed that one as well. I find myself buying the same people each time because there's no different mission kind of making me I go, well, I know it's good to do this because then I can go over here and do that. And this one, well, now my objectives have changed. So it's like, well, I don't necessarily need to do so much diving because there's other spaces to dive. I need to do more sonar stuff. So I'm going to take the guy that gives me the sonar action. And yeah, just that variation really zhuzhes it up, as they say.
Absolutely. So
our scores averages together 8.7. It's pretty good.
Excellent. That's really
pretty
good. It deserves it.
Yep.
If you liked Endeavor Age of Sail, or if you like engine building or turn efficiency games, this game absolutely knocks it out of the park and gives you tons of replayability with its modules, its missions, and 2 different versions of play between co-op and competitive.
Yep.
You should definitely check this out.
Up to 5 players.
And up to 5. Yeah. Not a lot that... Not much here that you shouldn't like is what we're getting at. So strong recommendation from the rundown. Bob, anything else you want to add to this review?
No, that's basically it. We want to thank everybody for watching. We do have a Patreon available. If you wouldn't mind signing up for that, we would really appreciate it. Otherwise, we do love your liking and your subscribing and ringing that bell. Comment down below. We will like to interact with those comments, so we appreciate it. And for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Bob.
I was Mike.
And this has been Endeavor Deep Sea by Grand Gamers Guild and Burnt Island. Thanks for watching.